Anticipate what COD Code is going to do. He peeks in, angles the stickies towards where he expects that COD Code will move. COD Code doesn't want to stay still in a position, right? Because he's just going to land all 6 of his stickies. So COD Code is like, all right, I'm going to dodge the stickies. But Dante is already ready for that and starts to pre-aim the stickies in the direction he thinks that COD Code is going to move. And obviously with that left click and that damage boost, COD Code is dead. That was pretty ballsy. Testing his limits here on the McCree. He has the pocket and he sees that McCree is somewhat alone here. So he does go for the pressure. Now he sees the Zen and the McCree, and you see here how he's LOSing the McCree now when he realizes this is not a favorable 1v1 anymore. This is now a 4v1. McCree has the bubble, so he decides to back off. Hello guys, welcome to the video. My name is Coach Hayes. Today we're going to be reviewing Dante on the Echo. Dante was kind enough to send us a couple of replay codes. This one, I asked the stream, and basically the stream told me they would rather see a replay code where he pops off, but he also has quite a lot of mistakes we can look at. So this replay code is going to be a good one if you want to learn from this. I assume there's going to be quite a few mistakes in here, or not a massive amount of mistakes, but there are going to be mistakes we can take a look at. And look at ways he could actually played better in those situations. So this will be good for you guys to learn, as well as seeing what he's going to do well. Now, if we look at the teams, the first thing we always do is we look at the teams. To be honest with you, I don't recognize too many players on these teams. The only player I do recognize is COD Code 904. I know for a fact that he is a Junk One Trick. He's also a streamer, I believe. Honestly, I don't recognize too many of these players. Still, we will always break down the team composition. So if we look at Team 2, the tank line right now, they're running with a Sigma and a Zarya. This is being played on the new patch. So obviously Sig Shield is a lot weaker. So they're running with the Zarya Sig. Support line, they're running Zen Mercy, and DPS, they're running Echo Tracer. So the only thing that's kind of unfamiliar here is them running the Zarya Sig. Usually you will see a Ball here. Now on Team 1, they have Ball and Zarya as the tank line. For the support line, they have Zen Mercy, again the same support line. And then for the DPS, they have Junkrat and McCree. So Dante is going to have quite a bit of pressure here from the McCree and the Zen Discord. It is quite a big threat. And also that McCree is going to have the Mercy pocket potentially, depending who Omelette decides to pocket here. I would say in terms of playstyle, playing Echo is a hero that you need to change your playstyle based on what kind of support you have, based on what kind of threat the enemy has. So if we look at his support, what support does he have? He has Zen Orb, he has Mercy Pocket, he has quite a good bit of support here on the Echo. Now if we look at the other side of that on Team 1, what threats does he have to deal with? Now I would say from Team 1, the threats that he has to deal with, Junkrat is not really going to be a threat. So we don't have to worry about him. Zen Discord, however, is going to be a big threat for him. The second threat is going to be the McCree. Obviously, McCree is the counter to the aerial characters like Echo and Farah. So he's going to have to be careful of getting discorded, and obviously playing in positions where the McCree can get shots off on him. Now that McCree is also going to be even more scary to deal with because they have this Mercy pocket. So I want to see how he adapts his playstyle when he sees the kind of threats and pressure they have, because this is not an easy composition for him to play against as the Echo. Now, as you know, Echo is a very, very spam heavy character. Even if you're playing versus compositions that are quite difficult for you to get in close and play against and kind of get that beam off, you still find a lot of value from playing the range and spamming. So we're probably going to see him playing quite spammy versus this comp until he finds opportunities to go in. And we're seeing right now already he's having to give the respect to the McCree. That McCree is landing quite a few shots. One thing we're going to be having to pay attention to, and I'm probably going to mention this a lot during the review, is the position and how he's using natural cover. And I'm sure you guys are probably sick of me saying this, but every single time at the highest level, natural cover is so important. And so what we're going to see when he's playing the Echo here is he's going to be using a lot of natural cover, and he's going to be subconsciously and tracking where the enemy McCree and Zen are and playing in positions where it's hard for him to get line of sight. So if we look at this position here, it is quite difficult for the McCree to get line of sight unless he peeks wide over here. So we're going to see this consistently throughout. He sees the McCree is in main. He does decide to fly over the top. Sees the McCree. And again, like, he's subconsciously tracking where this McCree is. Because if he gets caught out in the open, he's just dead meat. Drifts back to his Mercy. I think he was trying to go for a flank there, but the Mercy's not following with him. So he decides to come back. He's deciding to clear this ball out. I like this decision to clear the ball out, just because his team is retaking right now. So the defending team already have position. So the defending team, in theory, have the advantage here because they have position control. So if he can force this ball back and establish his team in a good position, establishing good position is going to mean that his team he's going to have more support from his Zen orbs. His Zen is going to be not pressured by the ball. He's just going to have more space in general because he set up this core in a good position. So he's deciding to clear the ball out. I like this decision a lot. Just need to be careful about giving Zarya too much charge. Because Zarya's, if you can be intelligent about kind of like faking spam onto the Zarya, forcing her bubbles, and then going for like, obviously when she's used the bubble, then we can go for like some spam. Because if we can deny those bubbles, Zarya really isn't effective. If you can consistently deny bubbles, I remember when I was in Overwatch League, this was something that I was like so insistent on to my players. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a composition called Flying Goat. Well, we called it Flying Goats. It was basically goats, but with a Winston instead. And it all revolved around like denying Zarya energy. And we performed very well on the Flying Goats just because we were like so consistent about denying Zarya energy. All right, so I'm gonna go back slightly here. Oh, I need to fix my bind. Bear with me one sec. There we go. Dude, floats was a fun composition. We were pretty good at floats back on Philly. That was like our go-to composition. Sado on the Winston. Class. Alright, so he's decided to take left side here. Slight off angle, but he can do this right because he has the Mercy. He doesn't see the McCree. McCree is, I'm not sure what McCree is doing. McCree is losing a lot of pressure on this hero by flanking and looking for Tracer. Because now, basically, the Echo is just free, right? The Echo can kind of move where she wants, and this is not what you want. You need to contain this Echo and play in positions where you can contain her. If you don't, she's going to roll over your team. So, the main problem he had here is that he commits his shift. He commits a shift in. He misses quite a lot of stickies there on the Zen. And I think instead of dropping back onto this roof, because he didn't know where he knew the Zen was in there. Instead of dropping back onto this roof, I think the better option for him would have been to kind of fly over here and just drift over here. And his Mercy can kind of come with him here. And this will give him enough time for his shift to come back available. And from here, when his shift comes back up, he can play in positions like this, right? Because if he's playing above the McCree here, the McCree and Zen are going to have to peek wide out onto this rooftop to actually be in a position to shoot the Echo. And even from here, this is not an easy position because you see here, if the McCree peeks out onto the roof, he can just drop back behind the cover pretty easily. So I think the mistake he made here is that he wasn't fully aware of where the McCree was. He knew the Zen was up there. And he drops up there. To be honest with you, because the McCree is not contesting, he had two options here. He can hard spam from this position and just continuously pressure and deny the tanks. Deny the enemy tanks, or he can take position like this where it's more aggressive and he has a good off angle, and he's also denying the McCree position. I think the problem was here, he wasn't playing around his shift cooldown, and he wasn't playing in a position where he's going to be safe. If his shift is off cooldown, he needs to play in a position where he can't get punished, which is somewhere like this, right? Because he can use this wall and this house to avoid the McCree line of sight. He also committed his beam, meaning that after he got the Zarya low, it's pretty difficult for him to finish her off when she's below 50. Throwing off some stickies, pre-fight, just trying to farm that ult. Playing close to this tower here so that he can LOS the McCree. Oh, that was a big mistake, actually. He just drifts right out into the open versus McCree pocket. So you see, he wouldn't have died here had he just played closer to the cover here. And this was like, this is honestly kind of a basic mistake, just flying out this open, especially when you're playing versus Zen and a McCree. This is like a very, very high damage and high threat backline that he's playing against. So he needs to be extremely cautious here. As you can see, one headshot, one left click, he's dead. And this is the range where actually, when you're playing versus a McCree, you actually have a pretty good 1v1 as the Echo. Because from this range, right, it's so much easier for him to hit his stickies. So much easier for him to hit his stickies. Nice little play here, like avoiding LOS on the McCree. Like you see how McCree pretty much only has vision onto his head. Just because of how he's like trying to play the stairway. He lands the stickies. Once the stickies land, obviously he sees his half and he goes for the beam. This is GG from McCree. Big mistake there from McCree pushing forward, because this, even if he gets a pick onto Dante here, it doesn't really provide his team with that much, because the spawn point is so close. So him pushing forward here was actually a really bad play, because the risk versus reward is, the reward is so low, but the risk is so high on this play. Just because of how close his spawn was. There's a good chunk of the stickies there. Nice bubble from the enemy Zarya. Oh, he's Codcode's looking for a sneaky little tire, is he? Goes for the clone. I like the flank there. He goes for this flank because he has the clone, right? So he's confident he's going to be fine in the situation. Goes for the concussion. Might be kind of hard for him to get his tire here. Just go quite aggressive. Oh, he's just going to chat it. I love it. Okay. Yeah, he played this nicely. I was wondering how he was going to get the tire, but he's just confident, right? Because he has the clone. Even if he dies, they've lost nothing. He's just going to be an echo for him. Oh, the tire's coming for him. Uses the beam on the tire. Don't see that too often. Okay, nice. So he takes out the Junkrat, takes out the Zarya, takes out the Zen, and takes out the McCree. So we got a 4K this fight. So they've capped the point. He instantly starts pushing forward, right? Because if he gets a pick here, if he gets a pick on these late spawners, this has big impact. So he's trying to capitalize on the fact that Team 1 are not actually regrouped right now. And he's trying to get in positions where he can put pressure. And maybe get a pick, because if he gets a pick here, it is quite high reward. It just buys extra time for his team to set up, get a position, take the payload. Sees the enemy McCree, and instantly starts backing off there. Mercy's now with him again. And this is one of the reasons why Echo's so strong, right? You get a tank below 50%, and he's just dead. He has the McCree on top left, instantly shifts to try and get into position of to avoid the McCree LOS. And he has Mercy Pocket now. I wonder how he's going to go aggressive with this. Ooh, almost takes out the Zen there. So he takes the Zen to 1. He sees Codcode's out of position, mega out of position. He doesn't push inside. He just plays this position here. He knows that Codcode, this is essentially a 1v1 versus a 2v1 because he has the pocket, but he sees that Codcode is obviously baiting people to come in. If he walks in, there's a massive chance that he's going to actually get hit by a pipe, a concussion mine, and he's just going to get one shot, right? Mercy Pocket is not going to help him through that. So he decides to anticipate what Codcode is going to do. He peeks in, angles the stickies towards where he expects that Codcode will move. Codcode doesn't want to stay still in a position, right? Because he's just going to land all 6 of his stickies. So Codcode's like, all right, I'm going to dodge the stickies. But Dante is already ready for that and starts to pre-aim the stickies in the direction he thinks that Code is going to move. And obviously with that left click and that damage boost, Code is dead. That was pretty ballsy. Testing his limits here on McCree. He has the pocket and he sees that McCree is somewhat alone here. So he does go for the pressure. Now he sees the Zen and the McCree, and you see here how he's LOSing the McCree now when he realizes this is not a favorable 1v1 anymore. This is now a 4v1. McCree has the bubble, so he decides to back off. And McCree is now no longer there. He's playing this angle here a lot. I think because this angle provides a lot of good natural cover for him. If he plays out in somewhere like this, right, then McCree just has free reign on to shoot him. So he's always playing around this natural cover on the right side, this position. Gets his Zarya bubble, okay. Zen is alone. I think Zen, yeah, I was going to say Zen is going to be dead there, but he forces a trance. And meanwhile, at this point, he's getting picks, he's putting pressure on, and he's trying to control the high ground. Meanwhile, his team is still pushing this payload. Okay. And you're going to see Echoes make this play a lot, right? Like, when Echoes get clone, they are going to make these aggressive plays where they just kind of commit in. I'm not sure if they communicated this with the Zarya on his team, but he goes in, gets the clone off. He realizes there's maybe too many people for him to stay here because they have, obviously, 4 people. And his team have absolutely no one here on high ground. So he does use Self Bubble and drops off. Even though he had clone there, he doesn't want to die for it, right? He still wants to try and find value from this clone. Unfortunately, he gets trapped. Uses shift instantly to get away. Oof. That damage boost is so deadly. He's really actually consistent with these stickies. So he comes high ground. Flies quite high there. He sees the McCree's not looking at him, so he's pretty fine to like get some damage off on this Zen. Gets the Zen low, almost kills the Zen with the beam. Unfortunately, like Zen played well there. He dodged behind he got behind the corner, avoiding the line of sight. And here the McCree is now on him. Instantly drops back behind the cover when he sees the McCree coming close. Anticipates where the McCree is coming from. Gets one left click off. And because of that damage boost, McCree's dead. Basically just showcasing how oppressive this Echo is, even versus hit scan, when you have a Mercy pocket. The enemy Mercy's had enough of this. Oh, she's getting staggered. And to be honest with you, on Iconwall's second point, where he should be having a pretty tough time, he's actually just getting so much value here. The main reason is because he's so consistent around playing around his cover. And this is basically one of the things that is so important as Echo, is like understanding how you can play around natural cover and understanding what composition the enemy is running, and then adjusting your playstyle based on how much support you have and what the enemy is running. And so, like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back here just so we can see this because we missed it. McCree is coming out. McCree gets a stun on him, but even though because he has pocket, he gets the McCree low and he just wants to kill him here, right? Because he knows that this HP, he's going to be able to deal with the McCree pretty easily. How important is mechanics on Echo? It's extremely important. Yeah, it's very important. Echo has a high potential as a hero. If you mechanically you're consistent with your stickies. That being said, if you know like spam patterns and like where you can be spamming from, you can still find value with Echo even if your mechanics are not as good. I agree with you, Sage. I think a lot of concepts on Echo do carry across to Pharah. I think they're similar in a lot of ways, because I think the main concept on Echo and Pharah is understanding when you're playing versus like high pressure compositions like Zen Discord and McCree, you need to be consistent around playing around natural cover, and you also need to understand when you can go in and close the gap on your threats. And once you've dealt with your threats, that's when you're just going to be free, right? All right, so we saw Team 1 trying to stagger best they can on the point, but they already lost quite a few people, so it's pretty futile. He's pushing forward aggro. He has orb. Doesn't have the pocket yet. Has pocket now. COD code is really, really exposed here. This is not a 1v1 that the Drunkrat wants to be taking with him. They lose their tracer. He decides to back off. A lot happened there, so I'm going to go back and break this down. So the enemy ball is discorded, which is why he's hard focusing this guy down. The other thing is the enemy ball is basically 1v6. Yeah, 1v6. This is a terrible engage from the enemy ball because he's going in when his team are not in position, right? How many of his team are in position? Yeah, maybe McCree's in position, but realistically, no one's in position to follow this up. Discord plus damage boost plus left clicks when he's half HP. Discord plus beam. Ball is instantly dead. You see that? You see how he's just playing around the slight shield there from the Sig? Just playing just behind the shield. Sig does take the shield down and he decides to clone. Clone timing there was perfect, just in time to avoid this high noon. There's a 1.5 second invincibility period on the Echo clone. So he does the perfect timing here just to avoid this this McCree high noon. And he's flanking. And it's the El Clasico, right? The roll, flashbang, right click. El Clasico. So he takes one out. I like this off angle a lot as well, because from this off angle, let's look at what he's providing from this off angle. So this off angle, basically, he's able to shoot the enemies from the side or in the back. The enemies want to push forward. They are going to have to push into his spam. The second thing is, from this position here, he's totally avoiding the McCree's line of sight. Unless the McCree comes around here and directly deals with him, he's going to be fine on this position. The only worry is if he flies out like this, he doesn't necessarily know where the McCree is right now. So him flying out like that was a slight mistake, to be honest with you. But he saw the brig was low and he wants to go for it. When he recognized the brig is there, you see how he's instantly coming back behind this cover. And brig has no cover there. That's the other reason this is such a good position, right? Because the enemy brig has absolutely no cover. Where can she play from? She's trying her best to hide in this corner. But it's pretty futile. And Codco doing his best with a tire. Barrier bubbles and a lot of pressure mean that he's not getting too much value from that. He's very accurate with these primary. He's very active with his. Sorry, I can't speak. I literally can't speak. This is horrible. He's very accurate with his try shots. There we go. Gets the Mercy low. Nice bubble there from Zarya to keep his Mercy alive. And this is simply a situation where just needs to focus people down. Does need to be kind of careful with the McCree, but yeah, you can see he has clone. So when he has clone, he's just going extremely aggressive. So we saw a few mistakes. We saw a few mistakes on the attack, but mostly I would say the hardest concepts for people to master, and like if any of you are watching this and you want to improve on Echo, hardest concepts that you need to master are playing around natural cover when you're playing versus hit scan DPS, Zen, and avoiding their line of sight. You can spam and pressure from a distance, but the other thing is which is hard, is you need to understand also how much support do you have. If you have a Mercy pocket, that means you can go more aggressive. If you don't have a Mercy pocket, you may have to play more of a spam style of an Echo and play distance and play to spam. It really depends. Like a lot of things are very, very situational in Overwatch. But you can see that Dante clearly has a good understanding of what kind of support he has, what his playstyle needs to be based on how much threat the enemy has. And you can see that after those mistakes on first point, he wasn't making too many mistakes around like playing too far in the open. There was a few maybe mistakes you could say on third point where he shifted out into the open and eventually saw McCree there, but he didn't get punished for it really, because he managed to shift back. He managed to drift back to the cover in time. So let's see how he performed on the defense here. Team 2 composition is looking fairly similar, except this time they have no Zen, they have a BAP. So a little bit weaker, a little bit worse of a composition out of Team 2 now. I think I'd much prefer the Zen in this comp, just because the Orb is going to be so much more beneficial for him. The Orb in the Discord is going to be so strong for his team. So I don't really like the BAP pick here, because I don't think you're going to get as much value with BAP here. Like, not many people are going to be shooting through his window. I think you find more value from Discords and Orbs. On the side of Team 1, they're actually switching up. They're going with a Ryan Zarya composition. This is kind of like a Brawl composition out of Team 1. One thing to note, he's going to have a less of a threat to deal with on this McCree now, because McCree is going to have less resources inputted into him, right? He's going to have less... he's not going to have a pocket. Dante doesn't have to worry about a Discord Orb. So this is a bit of an easier composition for him to play against on the Echo here. Playing to spam initially, has that damage boost. So he hears the McCree on right side. Do you see how he's drifted very close to this high ground position here? Once he got shot by the McCree, he instantly registered that and starts playing behind this line of sight. Behind this clock tower, so that the McCree doesn't have vision. Let's look from the McCree's perspective. So he pushes aggressively on the McCree, goes for stickies, and then backs off. Again, playing behind this cover. One of his win conditions versus his comp is honestly just to provide a lot of spam pressure. And play distance. And find windows where he can engage. Again, you see how he's looking for this McCree? Any bit of information he's taking in on where the McCree is. And sometimes you can see that he's drifting out into the McCree's vision, but he's never drifting too far out where the McCree is going to be able to kill him. Like, let's look from the McCree's POV here. Like, he's never out super high in the middle here where he can just get focused down. He's always, if he does go into the McCree's vision, it's very briefly. He sees that he gets the Zarya low, and this is another win condition, right, for Echo. Spam from a distance. When you see a window where you can go in for beam and see if you can get some pressure there. Almost kills the Echo there. Really, really close. He's probably going to kill him here. Yeah, he's going to finish him off. Sees that a lot of his team have gotten picked, so I think he's just going to reset this and get away. He hears the McCree's pushing him. He goes for the preemptive stickies. And McCree decides not to push. And he knows he's there. Oh, he shifts just in time. Yeah, he knew. He knew. He manages to shift just in time there. Ooh, I like it. He's playing aggressive here. Because he has that clone. And this is a theme we're seeing here. Whenever he has clone, he's playing very aggressive in positions where he can just clone if he gets pressured out. I like this a lot. Good spacing between the Ryan. He's simply backing off. The Ryan wants to swing him, but he's just backing off away from him, making it hard. And because of that bait, Ryan is now the team had to use drone. And all 6 stickies with damage boost. See you later, mate. Oof. You got one shot there by COD Code. Happens to the best of us. We get one shot by a Junkrat. He just gets rezzed and killed instantly. Ay, ay, ay. Not much you can do about that, to be honest with you. Got you good as you. I like this. I'm with you. Fire. Moving up. That was nice by Ryan. He lifted the shields. Stickies in Grav are so punishing. Especially with damage boost. So you're just hitting basically 3 people with stickies. Oh. Oh. McCree's dead. Maybe he's not. He's not dead. Alright, let's watch this. So he almost kills the McCree there with stickies. Predicts where the McCree's walking. Nice, really nice drone there from the enemy BAP. High noons just to get some ammo left. Get some ammo back. He's getting pressured low. Enemy Sig is using ult. Wonder how. I don't think he's gonna get away from this. Oh, the enemy McCree's not in it. I think he's still dead. Okay, Mercy's now pocketing him. I think he's gonna be fine. Oh, this shouldn't really be a situation where he's gonna win the 1v1. Versus Junkrat in this close area, he's not gonna win a 1v1 there. Enemy BAP drone like got so much value there. He would have killed two, but the enemy BAP drone just totally denies that clone from him. And the good thing about when you're going aggressive with clone is you're going to have your shift right after it. So like he can make this aggressive plays because he knows his shift is going to be up after the clone. Enemy Zarya goes for the grab. Doesn't quite manage to hit Dante, but I think he's still dead here. Yeah. And in the positions like this is where McCree is just going to kill him, right? In the open there. Just dies to the McCree. That's a huge shatter. Oh, McCree wanted him. Nice line of sight cover there. Let's just avoid the McCree. McCree's pushing, goes for the health pack. Yeah, he's dead. The team 1 have so much time left actually. They have 4 minutes 17. 4 minutes 17 left on the clock here. Team 1 have actually 2 ults. They've just used Tyre. Team 2 don't really have a whole lot to deal with this. He starts taking right side. Hardcode, I believe, is going for a flank here to try and get a pick. But Isaac is already ready for it. Now that he's killed the junk, I think this should be a fight win. Goes for the stickies. The McCree is also dead, so the 2 DPS are down. This is where he is going to be absolutely free farming on the Echo here, right? Because the only person that can now deal with him is going to be the enemy Baptiste. So he doesn't even need to play around cover. He's just getting himself in the best spot where he can kill this Zarya. And he sees the Zarya is below 50, gets her down, takes out the drone, and then he's going for the beam. Gets the stickies onto the Rhine. Yep, pretty standard stuff. They got 2 picks early on the DPS there. When you kill the DPS, it just means that he is totally free to get away with anything he likes. That was nice. You see how he plays here to just get the damage on the McCree? Sees the McCree's coming, goes for the stickies initially, jumps, shoots. Jumps, shoots. Predicts where the McCree's going, and you see how little he actually showed himself there while getting damage off. And this is one of the advantages of like understanding how to play projectile well, is you don't always have to be showing yourself to the enemy. Let's look at this from the McCree's perspective. See, he's barely even showing himself. McCree hits 1 headshot. After the headshot, Dante doesn't peek. Playing behind cover. And obviously, McCree doesn't have any support there from his team. The healers are still coming out, so Dante finishes him with the beam. But just a good example of how he's so efficient and he's so good at playing around this cover. Wait. They C9, dude. They C9'd. Oh, that's terrible actually. I did not see that coming. That was actually a really bad C9er. Oh no, okay. And I'm sure he's not happy with that, is he? Still winnable though. They got 2 minutes. They got snowballed pretty hard in their attack on second and third. Brawl comp definitely working nicely for Team 1 there. His team kind of got rolled over before he could have an impact on the Echo. Okay, any changes? Ooh, we see Kali is now switched from the BAP onto the Zen again. I like this choice a lot. Versus Brawl compositions, having a Zen is going to be so nice at just shredding down this it's additional spam versus their comp. They also switched the Zarya onto a Hog, which is also a really nice pick. Their comp now, Team 2's composition basically provides so much spam and so much shield break with this composition. And relatively good survivability, right? They don't need the massive amount of heals with Hog and Sig, because Sig is shielding most of his damage. Hog is going to be vaping most of his damage. The Orb is going to be really nice for just kind of keeping his McCree topped up, maybe also orbing Dante occasionally. So I like this composition a lot out of Team 2. This is a really nice kind of like poke and spam composition. Team 2's composition is going to be more focused on controlling key positions. They don't need to group together too much. Whereas Team 1 is the opposite of that. Team 1 needs to be playing close within the BAP aura, within the Lucio aura, so that this team can kind of use that close range brawl potential and use all of the advantages that they get from playing close together in kind of like a brawl formation. Dante a little bit too far in the open there. From this range, he doesn't need to worry too much about the McCree, because the McCree damage fall off isn't going to really kill him there from this range. Poking above the Rhine shield. Flies forward to the next piece of cover. Decides to fly across. He sees the trap. He's going to take the trap down. Finding these angles just to get some stickies down and some pressure. Shifts back across towards this cover here. You see how he's playing around this cover now. Just avoiding the McCree line of sight and poking down the tanks. Nice push there from Team 1. They actually managed to take out their Sig. Oh, this is so aggressive. Yeah, you can see why he gets punished there, right? Like, this is not a situation where he should be going forward. This is just a situation where he should be backing off and just playing to spam here. He should be in a position like this where he can just spam and support his team from like getting pushed on by Team 1. But he decides to go for a flank play here. I think maybe he's trying to get one pick. Maybe if he gets one pick and dies, like that's a good trade for him. That's maybe his mindset here. But the McCree is playing super far back, and so the McCree is kind of covering this flank. Goes behind for the stickies. He tries his best to LOS here on the McCree, but McCree is peeking around into his vision, and he gets taken down.
Adjusting angle of attack.
Team 1 adapting pretty nicely, actually. Wow, he almost takes the McCree out, but he gets spammed out himself. Oh, that was so close. Okay, he takes the drone out. He's very committed with this now. But I like the off angle. I like the off angle here. Because the Mercy is going with him, this is definitely an off angle he can take. Because if we look at this position here, the enemy team is mostly playing around this corner here. So if he can take a position like this, he can just put so much pressure and spam from a slight off angle. He lands any stickies, he's going to get AoE damage, especially versus brawl compositions, because obviously they're clumped. The McCree does decide to push him, and he flies away from the McCree outside of that flashbang range. Shifts up, gets good damage onto the McCree, not quite under 50%, so he doesn't get the additional beam damage onto the McCree. He flies up and over. I'm not sure about this decision to fly up and over. Maybe he's just going super aggressive on the McCree here. Okay, so he gets so much damage down onto the BAP. McCree pushes him, so he instantly goes for the clone. Hey. I mean, this is a good trade for him. Takes the McCree out. He just needs to be careful here because his Mercy's not with him anymore. The reason he's getting so close here is because from this position, this is a lot easier for him to hit his primary fire. I like the clone onto McCree there. He clones there because he's obviously in a dangerous position.
Duplication and
And this is like, these are the limits he's testing when he's playing the Echo. He knows that when he has this clone, he has a get out of jail free card with this. BAP uses Amp, manages to survive. McCree pushes out, he takes the shot from McCree, instantly goes for the clone. 1.5 second invincibility period. He avoids the flashbang, instantly rolls in. You're dead, mate. I think he realizes he doesn't have pocket there, so he backs off. Nice, he identifies the Junkrat is out of position. And at this point, all of his threats are down. He can just int into the enemy team. Close range, take him down with the projectiles, and this should be good. Going forward aggressively for picks. Mercy does manage to get him, come to him in the end. Okay, Isaac. Alright. So he's already 50 on another clone. Wow. Okay, he literally got one shot again. And I guess one thing you could say is this is a common spam position for the Junkrat, but yeah, I mean, sometimes happens, you just get one shot. The team are doing a decent job of stalling here. They're trading, which is really, really good for them. Tracer comes back from spawn to his left. One of the reasons he doesn't want to be on this low is because obviously Tracer is going to have a lot of impact versus him here. He has to touch, he flies up. Maybe winnable, it's going to be tough though, he needs to stall a long time. Getting that full Mercy pocket though. Yeah, I think they lost this one. Okay, so they're going to need a big, big hold here. I don't know if he could have done anything like too drastic to clutch this, because I think a lot of his team were already kind of dead at this point. Like Ryan's already trying to stagger a long time here. He's coming back. He takes the brig at the BAP out. Focusing down the discorded Ryan first. Gets the beam on the Ryan. But now he's in a situation where he has to touch. Enemies using beat. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And because he has to touch, he can't shift super high up into the air. So Echo is obviously very, very weak when she's on the ground close to the enemies like this. So they do manage to take him out. So they have 3 minutes 45 to hold this, which is a tall order. Team 2 did get a little bit of push on the payload, so maybe this is winnable. They're going to have like one fight after they lose the point, but it's going to be tough for sure. This push from Team 1 was all made possible because Isaac overcommitted a little bit too far there. Wow, Team 2 really switching it up. They're going double shield now with a Pharah Echo. This might get kind of funky because the Mercy's going to have to pocket 2 aerial targets. So I don't like this pick at all from Isaac. But we'll see. Team 1 running what they're comfortable with. Brawl composition. I like that. He baits the Zarya. I don't think he was actually trying to get energy from that. I think he's just trying to bait the enemy Zarya. I don't know if the enemy Zarya got charge or not. She did get a little bit of charge actually, so maybe he's just trying to spam. Could be overthinking that a little bit there. I would like to see him try and combo with Orisa pull here. He can find a lot of value versus Orisa pulls when you have an Echo. Because obviously you're going to hit those 6 stickies consistently. So I would like to see him try and combo the stickies with the pull. Just finding extra ways of getting value from his hero. Synergize with his teammates. Could have been a little more patient there. That's really bad. His Baptiste gets taken down. The team 1 is going to go hard into them now. I don't know if they can win this. Oh, the Forest dead as well. They do trade a Lucio. Because the Bap is dead, he needs to play extremely defensive here. That's why he's backing up all this to this position. But from here, as you can see, the enemy McCree is in line of sight. So this is a position where the McCree can chip away at him. He drops all the way behind the cover, drops to the health pack, fires off some stickies and does manage to get a kill. He can hear the McCree is hunting him. Oh, he almost takes him out. That was smart. You can see, like, playing around natural cover is a staple of how to play this Echo. Right? He's backing away from the McCree. He gets the mini, shifts behind the tree, and he's praying for the best here. He's just praying that he gets some damage down on the McCree. But good effort there. Actually, really good effort to try and survive.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Oh, I think it's GG, fellas. I think it's GG. Yeah, it's GG. So overall, I actually think Dante played mostly quite decent on this game. Like, I think he definitely showcased, like, if we look at the times he died, most of the times he was dying were situations where he wasn't playing well enough around the natural cover. And this is like one of the core concepts when you're playing the Echo. You need to learn how to play around aerial cover, such as high buildings. And this is probably why you don't see Echo being played too much on maps like Junkertown. Because you don't have those kind of aerial high grounds that you can play behind and you can LOS the enemy threats. In general, I do think he played well around natural cover. I do think there was some mistakes he made in terms of where he was playing out in the open, and we saw he got picked, right? The example on first point attack, he got picked out in the open versus McCree, but as the game went on, he slowly adapted his playstyle and was playing pretty well around natural cover. Second point, we saw the same thing. Second point attack, he was playing really, really well around his natural cover and making sure that he was playing in positions where the McCree, if the McCree managed to get a shot, he dips behind that cover. And obviously his mechanics on the Echo are impressive, very impressive. I am not sure if Dante is like the best player in the West, but I think he definitely is up there as one of the best players in the West. Thanks everybody so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do want to come and watch this live with us on Twitch, you can come join us, twitch.tv/Hayes_OW. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.